Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I found out that these two guys had known each other for a long time, and I guess they played on rival teams in juniors. So I was just wondering what have you noticed that's kind of similar about the way Greg and Steve kind of approach things? Are these similar type players because they have the same coach back home, or are they different?
Yeah, a little bit different. Obviously, one's a little bit more aggressive out of the crease. One, is a little bit moves a little bit better laterally. So they just have a lot of nuances are the same. Obviously, when they go to the same camps and work with the same guy for long periods of time, they have a lot of similarities. But for the most part, they approach the game very similar. They're prepared, and they have a routine that they get into over the course of the week and sets themselves up for success on the weekends.
I was curious too, when you were first recruiting Steve, did you have any idea that they even knew each other at all, or did you?
Yeah, we knew that. I knew that. I know the goalie coach pretty well, so that they work with out of Pittsburgh. So that's kind of where a lot of it initiated and started. So I did know them. I talked to Greg a little bit about Steve as a person and that. Make sure he's a good teammate, a good person, and Greg obviously endorsed him as all the above.
I was curious too, because Greg, since you've been playing too this year, how will that help down the road? If is it possible sometimes if a guy plays every single game, that by the time the playoffs come around, he can kind of be like a NASCAR car in the last laps, where he's kind of dinged and dented and not maybe as strong as he might be?
Well, you'd hope that you say it all the time. I mean, NHL goalies play 65 games starters. College season is upwards of 40 is where you get. So you would, but mix in academics, mix in the schedule, mix in the travel. It all adds up to the availability for. You're definitely not going to be as fresh the end of the year as you were at the start of the year, and so you have to do some maintenance work from that perspective. But what you want as a coach is you want to make sure that every time you put someone in nets, you're going to get good goaltending. And right now we have two guys who are putting up good stats, and so hence they're both playing. If one guy's running a show and doing well and consistently doing well, then there's a lot of programs that run with the one guy. But what you're looking for is just on a consistent basis that you have good goaltending and it affords you an opportunity to win, and they're both doing that for us right now.
Yeah, I don't know how often you closely. I was looking at the stats this week that they have almost identical stats. They both have the same save percentage, the same goals allowed. You find that coincidental, or is that probably a result of just the way your team's playing in general and the way they're playing?
Yeah, I know. I think it has a lot to do with them as well. I think they're playing well and they're allowing us to be confident in front of them. They've done a good job of keeping things clean for our defense. And doing the little things well that don't give up second chance opportunities. That's what you want. You want them to be prepared like that and give an opportunity to slow the game down for us if need be, but also to make the key saves. They've done a good job. I think important for us that we continue to get better in front of them and continue to make sure they see shots in that. So we'll continue to work on that.
I was going to say one thing about each guy too. With Greg, he came in last year, and I think he was probably number 3 at the start of the year. Were you kind of surprised how quickly he worked his way up to the top spot? Did you expect at the start of the year he would be a guy that would be playing 30-some games? Or?
Well, we recruited him thinking that he was going to be able to compete for the job. When you look at resumes and for whatever it's worth, he just started as it was with it, and I think it had a little bit to do with his conditioning coming through the door that put him in that situation, and then he worked himself into the starting job and did a good job for us last year, gained a lot of experience, and he probably did break down a little bit last year as the season wore on with his as a freshman, mentally, physically, that didn't enable him to put back-to-back games together all the time. So I think it's his conditioning has done it this year. Now competition has arisen here with Steve playing really well, taking nice time away. So there's a lot going on, the dynamics there with that position. But I know Greg has really prepared himself well for this year. I think the experience last year has laid the groundwork for that for him. And it's a situation that I think we're very comfortable that he could push, and he's a starter in this league.
And with Steve too, I was curious when he first got here, were you kind of expecting he had the ability to become like a rotation type guy, or was he that good early on that you just realized right away we got to play both these guys kind of thing? Or?
Well, I think obviously one thing we wanted to do this year was get a look, and so it afforded us with the 2:00 game the second day right after a 7:00 game was a great opportunity, and he took full advantage of his opportunity. But Steve came very well prepared, and came from obviously that. Feedback we got on him was that he would be prepared. He works really hard. He's and he'd make us better. So our expectations are, we're getting what we expected to get, and then maybe probably a little bit more, especially from a maturity standpoint. From a freshman, he looks confident in nets. He looks calm, which is probably the thing that takes sometimes a little bit of time to come to show that savviness in nets, and he's done that from the time he's arrived here.
Thanks,